And brick and mortar retail may be on the way out as far as SM sees it, but in many ways, cash is still king. For instance, a majority of Pinoy online shoppers prefer paying through cash on delivery, which logistics companies and couriers don't offer. And one startup, Payo, is still trying to fill that gap. We have with us today Payo co-founder and COO, Liron Cruz. Liron, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I understand you've been in the Philippines since about a year and a half now.
Yeah, actually a year and a half I moved with my family, but I've been working in the Philippines for like 5 years.
Okay, so you're very familiar with the Philippines. So, okay, before we go to the habits of online shoppers, which I know you know a lot about, let's talk about Payo. What is Payo in a nutshell?
Payo in a nutshell basically is a cash-on-delivery gateway. We believe that cash-on-delivery is not going anywhere. Cash is not going anywhere, as you said. Cash is king. And this is a cash-based economy. So we're trying to put back the control in cash-on-delivery because it's very hard for merchants to grow without bleeding and losing money because they have no control when it's come to cash on delivery.
That's right. So cash on delivery, what you're talking about is they're bleeding because of the sudden cancellations, people just not receiving the orders and not paying as promised, right? So how does Payo solve that problem exactly? Can you take us through like the steps? Yeah, the steps.
Okay, so basically it's a workflow. We start by looking at the invoice, just making sure that the address is correct. Address in the Philippines can be complicated, barangay, province, landmarks. We make sure everything is okay. Then we move to check the credit history of the merchant, of the client. We just want to make sure this is not somebody who cancels often. We just want to make sure this is not a 15-year-old boy who ordered in Lazada iPhone and his mama's not going to pay for it when it's arrived. Making sure those stuff. Then we move to what we call courier optimization. We work with 6, 7 different couriers around the Philippines. Our algorithm know how to check which is the right courier per province to make sure we choose the right courier. Lastly, the last step, we are connected to the courier with an API system. So basically, whenever there is an issue, we know live, and we try and solve that issue. We have actually a call center that talk to the client. Philippines like the personal touch. Yeah. So we have a call center, they call, they talk, they resolve the issue, and then we push toward a successful sale. We fight for each sale for the merchants in behalf of them.
So I'm going to use a very personal example because I think I just avail of your service. Although I did not pay cash on delivery, I know Lala Move is like one of your clients, right? So I ordered something online and it came and it sent me a text message with a link to a live map of the driver like arriving in so and so hours. So these kinds of things help you actually curb these missed collections or these order cancellations. Yes, but you also have an algorithm, which I'm really interested in because I understand that you actually have a big data mining or analytics team behind this. And this is what you use to make sure it's not a 15-year-old boy sneakily ordering an iPhone, right? How does that work?
We basically have a credit history. Most of the people who buy online, they buy time after time after time. We just want to make sure that the merchant is not selling to somebody that just ordered like in the last 5 times and canceled because many excuses, was not home, forgot to leave the money. And in cases like this, a case that we know that the buyer might be a bit problematic, we offer the merchant to maybe call the buyer and ask him to bank deposit it or use a credit card or, to save the trouble of going again and being canceled, since the merchants have to pay for that delivery anyhow. So we just don't want the measure to go on a goose chase.
All right. So it would be easy to go on a wild goose chase here in the Philippines, right? What else do you use this data for apart from, fraud prevention and fact checking and double checking? Is there any plans in the future?
We actually plan to start to give, since we have bad customers, we also have good customers.
Of course.
On the same, so we want to start to give the good customers also benefits and
like a good 4-star rating or 5-star rating, something like that. Yes. Okay, and you are coming out with a mobile app later this year. How will that make, so right now you don't have an app yet. How will this app help your business?
The help will allow the buyer to have more control on where the product is. After all, and the merchant on the other side. After all, we want to give full control on the cash on delivery, to give full control on the last mile process. Just like what you said with Lala Move. If the buyer knows where the item is, if the buyer knows exactly when he's going to receive it. It's going to give them better expectations. So they'll be better ready for the item to be received, less cancellations.
Right. Well, I do understand that you're kind of paranoid, like, where is it? Is it somewhere here, somewhere there? So you kind of like knowing where it is, even though sometimes you're like, okay, whatever. And you put aside your phone. Now, there is one thing that you guys are actually pushing, and that you're actually saying that, you know, cash delivery is better than the use of credit cards or like certain services like PayPal. What are the advantages to this? Because all I'm seeing is a logistical nightmare, sort of, which you guys are solving, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with you. It was a logistic nightmare. It was for us. We started as an e-commerce website, so I know I've been on the merchant side. So it was a logistic nightmare. This is why we came. Now, why is it better than credit card? I don't know if it's better than credit card. I only know that this is the reality. 75% of the Filipinos are unbanked, but they still have smartphones. They still have Facebook. They still want to buy. So cash is not going anywhere, not in this economy.
All right. So what are your plans for the rest of the year? Right now, you're working with, if you can tell us, I mean, we have some of your partners here, but who are some of the biggest retailers that you are privy to tell us that you work with?
So, for example, Soul Academy, Wildleaf, we work with Paynamics Gateway, iPay. Those are the partners, the merchants we work with. On the courier side, we work with many different, the biggest logistic companies here, LBC, To Go, Ninja Van, Delasia.
So I guess my last question would be, how would your service be different for a merchant and for like a courier service?
We're kind of like in the middle. We manage the last mile for the merchants. The merchants are a small entrepreneur, medium-sized entrepreneur. They can't handle it themselves. It's very hard. They lose control. We help them by gaining that control back on the couriers, on the deliveries, on the buyers. We manage that for them in order for a successful cash on delivery transaction to happen.
And your growth here in the Philippines has been good the past year and a half since you launched?
Yes, completely.
Completely
very happy,
good. Double-digit growth, I guess?
Yes. So far, yes.
All right, maybe I'll try paying COD one of these days if I can muster up the courage to do so. Thank you very much, Liron Groth, COO and co-founder of Payo.